What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Covering Coops. This is episode number 2. I know it's been a little while. I took a little hiatus just from my lack of focus and just me staying focused on my goals and things that I wanted to do. So I've been gone for a while. But now it's my turn to make my redemption, make my way back, and reach out to the people. And hopefully someone that's listening to this can get something out of it. And yeah. So we're back. Episode 2. Now this episode is stemming off of a podcast that I watched recently from Brandon Marshall. Shouts to him. If for some reason he ever does listen to it or watch it or, whatever else, it'd be cool. Shout out to him. Him, Ocho Cinco, Fred Taylor. And it was a podcast about mental health as an athlete. And I wanted to touch on this because this is something that I can relate to. As you may know, I am an athlete. I am a semi-professional football player here in South Carolina. And I've been doing it for upwards of 10 plus years. Played through high school, year college, things like that. So I wanted to touch on this to my audience as well about mental health as an athlete. Now, this isn't just pertaining to just athletes, but I feel like a lot of times athletes get overlooked and get caught up in like we're machines and our job is only to perform and to entertain. And it doesn't really work out like that. So, little backdrop story on me. Coming out of high school, leading to my college, I made a decision to not attend a certain college solely because of a girlfriend at the time. Now, anyone that knows when you're young and in love and things like that, you tend to make certain decisions that you usually would not make. As an adult, you look back and be like, wow, I don't even know how I managed to even make this decision. Like, why would I do such a thing? So I made this decision and stayed closer to home. Of course, things backfired, relationship backfired, college career backfired. Okay, so what? Cool. So this is kind of like the snowball effect of like things that come, and that might happen to a lot of other athletes out there too that have been through this. If it's not football, basketball, etc., whatever sport that you play, right? So you go through these things, you make these decisions at a young age, and you're just trying to figure out your way and your path, and where do you want to go, and where do you see yourself in 10 years? And you think you're making the right decisions at the moment, and then you look back. Now, what does this do to you 10, 15, 20 years down the line? Me, myself, I am 31 years old. I will be 32 in February. So I've been around for a little bit. I've been in sports basically my whole life from a kid into currently now, football player, trainer, etc. Right? So I was looking at a few statistics when it came to certain athletes and mental health issues, and I saw that 38% of power lifters have suicides based on neglect of their mental health. Now, that's crazy. That is a high number. Now, in other sports, basketball, football, things like that, it is like at 1%, less than 1% for men and women. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at these numbers and you're still seeing this, is that athletes do suffer from mental health issues. And I'm going to touch on a few things that kind of just let you know what these things could be. So, performance is one of the biggest things. If you're a professional athlete in your field, your job, quote unquote, your job is to perform and to entertain, right? So you would do whatever is necessary by any means to perform, entertain, provide for your family, things like that. When it comes to maybe taking drugs, steroids, anabolic steroids, things like that. And after a while, those things start to wear on you. They start to mess with your psyche. You might perform physically better, but what does it do to your brain, right? And of course, there's many different side effects to steroids, things like that. You can all check all that out. There's many different things that can come from anabolic steroids. besides the pros that come from it, right? So me personally, I've never touched a steroid in my life. I've always been accused coming up through high school because I was big, strong, things like that, that I was taking steroids. Of course, it came from my peers and things like that, and it was used jokingly. But when I look back now to this stage of my life, I can tell that it did have some effect on me. Just hearing it, and just even though it's coming from friends and it's coming from just a fun, jokey place, it did affect me. Can't lie. Over time, just hearing it over and over, it's like with anything in life. You hear something over and over, your brain retains it, and it becomes a part of your life. So definitely steroids. Another thing is concussions. Now, I can relate to concussions as well. I have had 3 in my career, from high school all the way up. I've had 3 concussions. And it can potentially, especially in athletes that take blunt force trauma, wrestling, football, rugby, even basketball, things like that, you can end up developing CTE. Now, this is one of those things that they say that they can only diagnose after the person has passed away. Could I have it? Could I have it? Yeah, there might be plenty of other athletes that have it. There's an incident with, everyone knows, Aaron Hernandez, that he was diagnosed with CTE after he passed away. Concussions, damage of the brain, swelling of the brain, things like that. It does play a role, just because it's damage, and the brain is very delicate. So once you start taking these big hits and big blows to your brain, naturally it's going to affect you. Might not in the short term, but in the long term. I remember when I had my first concussion, the way that I felt, my body felt like it was asleep. Like when you're sitting down too long and your feet fall asleep or your legs fall asleep, that tingling feeling. My whole body felt that way. My head was cloudy. It was pounding. Everything felt compressed, and I just felt literally outside of my body. After a while, getting diagnosed, going to the doctor, things like that, noticed that my short-term memory was just completely trash. It just got trashed. I couldn't remember. I could literally be looking at something, and 5 minutes later, can't even remember what I was looking at. Now, I feel like some of those things, now, even currently now, I still have some side effects from when it comes to my short-term memory. It's the fact that I can have the thought literally right in my head, and for some reason, if I wanted to reach out and touch it, I just couldn't. I'd be right there scraping at it. So it's definitely one of those things that can cause issues for athletes coming up. So be mindful, take care of yourselves, take any preventative action that you have and that you need to take in order to recover the proper way. Drug abuse. Have zero experience in drug abuse, but I know of people, athletes that, that abuse drugs from having issues outside of football and, in football, basketball, things like that. When it comes to things like maybe smoking marijuana or alcohol or, popping pills, things like that. And it's one of those subjects that, someone never really knows how far they've gone for themselves because it becomes their norm. It becomes an everyday thing for them, 7 days a week. And it's just a normal every day. Really don't see the side effects of this until something drastic has happened. Maybe you lose family, friends, your job, your career over some of these things. And then after a while, whenever you do lose it, then it sinks you even deeper into this depression that a lot of people deal with. And either A, they don't know that they're dealing with it, or B, that they do, and they think they can handle it on their own. I personally do this every day. This is my space to be transparent with everyone because I'm not human. And hopefully people can get some insight from my realness of everything that I tell you guys. So depression is one of those hard things for me, especially in my athletic life. For myself, I always struggle of trying to be the best and contributing as much as I can to my team, and just literally being the best that I can be. Now, a lot of times, in some football games, let's say for instance in a football game, right? This past year championship game, I still feel like I'm a very, very good football player. Still can play at a very high level at my age, because anyone that knows, it is a saying, once you hit 30 as a running back, that's it. That's your decline, right? Now, me personally, I accept the challenge. I'm like, okay, decline here? Nah, not here. So, I work hard, try to eat right. I study, get in extra work when I can with my teammates, things like that. And this past year in our championship game, I was more disappointed in myself than I was happy that we won. Shout out to the Sumpter Sharks, Jerome Kennedy, Douglas Ledwell, my whole team, the whole squad. But I was more depressed and disappointed in myself rather than being like, yo, this is my first ever championship for the sport that I love. Like, why am I not happy? And it just goes back to me, with my depression and my anxiety and my mental just, playing with me. This is a big feat, to be a champion. Some people become a champion and they never see it again. And so there's a lot of different things that plays their roles when it comes to our mental health, depression, anxiety, self-doubt, things like that. And I battle it every day. And I feel that we should take the proper steps, talk to people, talk to family, surround yourself by positive energy, just to help cope with some of the issues that you might be having. Now, biggest thing for me, and I am terrified of it, just thinking about it, retirement. Hanging the old cleats up, right? Hanging the basketball up, putting the golf clubs up in the closet and never bringing them out again. So, man, this can play on your mental. And I think the biggest thing with this, and this is the biggest thing with me, is that I am afraid to lose a step. Now, if any of you don't know what that means, it's like, all right, you performed at this level for so long, go through years and you performed, you've excelled, and then you hit your peak. Now, the peak is fine, cool, because we're humans. We can't constantly keep going. It's just nature. But then, once you notice that decline, maybe you're not recovering as quick enough. Maybe you're not seeing the gains and the progress that you are used to seeing when you were 21 years old is not there. And that's when the doubt starts to kick in and you start to question, hey, yo, is this my last ride? Am I done? Am I retiring? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And that weighs heavy on me personally. I feel like I can play football until the day I die, right? And be great. Naturally, it's just not possible. But in my age now and playing with some great talent on my team, my brothers, man, so my whole team is just stacked. Now, being one of the older teammates, I would say, my job is to, be a role model, be a captain for everyone, help the younger guys that are just coming into it, help get them on the right path. And at the same time, deep down inside, pave the way for when it's time for me to be done. Now, mentally, I never want to be done, but I know physically, one day my body's going to say, hey, Coop, hey, this is it, man. Yo, go ahead and hang it up. Like, we've taken enough punishment. Now, is that something that I could do? I don't know, because I've pondered it and I've questioned it many of times in my head, literally to the point I've exhausted myself. I've cried about it. I've lost sleep about it. Really question like, yo, am I still good at this? Can I still play ball the way that I think that I'm playing? And I have good affirmation when it comes to my ability. And I'm sure other athletes, you look at athletes like LeBron, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, the list can go on, Serena Williams. Like, these are people that are at the peak of the peak. Like, they are there and beyond. And they all have to go through the same thing. And I'm pretty sure, just like with MJ when he retired the first time, he questioned himself. Do I still have it? Is this something that I still love to do? Am I still capable? And 9 times out of 10, this is something that weighs on every athlete that crosses that threshold of like, man, I've been successful for so long. I've been so good for so long, and now I'm not the same. Says this younger guy, he's faster, he's stronger, he's quicker, reflexes on point. Do I still have what it takes to be who I need to be? And then you question that retirement. And that's one of the hardest things, I think, for any athlete that is suffering from some type of mental issue. Now, if you're cool and like you have everything set, you have your family, you feel like you made enough money, and you're just like, hey, I'm ready to walk away. Cool. Yo, that's big props. But a lot of us live for what we do. I myself, I live for football. I don't know myself outside of me being a football player. It's hard because it's been my life for so long. But it is what it is. One day we have to all cross that road as athletes to make that decision. Hey, is it time to hang it on up, or we gonna keep putting our body through that punishment? So the biggest question you always ask yourself, like, who are you after your career? What are you gonna do when your career's done? You're like, oh man, you wake up that next Monday morning and you're not waking up at 6 a.m. to go to the facility, to the gym, to train. Your diet's not the same. Your circle of friends might not be the same because you're used to seeing these guys during the week and things like that. Like, what do you do? What are your options? For me, luckily, I can fall back on gaming. Gaming is my 1A. Football is 1, gaming is my 1A. It's like right there in training people. So I have something to fall back to after my football career is done. But it is still hard. It's still hard to fathom of like on Saturdays I wake up and I'm not going to practice. I don't have a game. I have no travel to go to a game or anything like that. That's something that just blows my mind. And I think when I do get to that point, it's going to take me a while to adjust. And I'll probably submerge myself more into other things that I love, but I know it's definitely something that I will miss. So mental health. Note here, guys, and this is just personally from me. Take care of yourselves, right? Sports, being an athlete, it's a gift and it's a curse, right? Now, anyone can be on a team, but it takes a lot to perform at a high enough level to be recognized as one of the best, right? When you look at, like I said, LeBron, Michael Jordan, any of those guys like that, these guys have been the best of the best of the best of the best. And MJ had to walk away. LeBron's gonna one day have to walk away. All the greats, you have to walk away eventually. But the fact of the matter is that you have to understand your value as a person and being in control of your life and not letting your career dictate who you are, letting your career dictate what you're capable of. Because at the core of it all, being an athlete is just a part of who you are. It is not you. You're good at plenty of other things that you probably just don't know. Either it's singing, drawing, art, music, cooking, fishing, so many different things that make a person who they are. I'm a great gamer. I love the game. I play World of Warcraft. I love to edit videos. I like to just work out. I like to eat. I like to make people laugh. I like to dance. I like to write. I like to create. There's so many things that I love to do, and there's all pieces that make me who I am. Not just football, but all those things together. So guys, take the time, take care of yourself. If you're having issues, please reach out. This is one of the hardest things to talk about for anyone is mental health. And that's even being outside of being an athlete. But I know athletes were held under the spotlight, and then at a young age, for some, mostly NBA guys, we get sucked into the fame and glory and being the number one pick and being a superstar, and you forget about yourself. You go into that mode of like, man, I have this opportunity to make so much money and entertain so many people, and then you forget about yourself, because without you being number one and you being top notch for yourself, you can't be that for anyone else. So I hope you guys did enjoy the podcast. Make sure to check it out, share it with your friends, like it. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit lengthy. It's only about 20 minutes or so. But I felt like it's something that I needed to talk about after watching Brandon Marshall's podcast. Y'all make sure to go check his out on YouTube. It's dope. It's always fun and a good time watching. Once again, do appreciate you guys. Episode 2 of Covering Coops. I want to start doing these every Tuesday. I think that's my thing. Every Tuesday, I'll record and I'll talk about either something that's just relatable to me, to you, anything. And it's going to be from gaming to sports to animals, reviews. This podcast thing is something new to me, but I feel like my voice needs to be heard, and someone out there is looking for someone like me to listen to and relate to and maybe point them in the right direction. I'm by no means a professional. I by no means am perfect. I am by means, not the end all be all. It's just my job to lend my voice with the experiences that I've had and I've been through and that I'm going through to help my audience get themselves straight, understand themselves, love themselves, and hopefully this reaches at least one person out there that will enjoy this. But once again, do appreciate you guys listening. Also make sure to check out my YouTube as well, youtube.com/CoopXFitness. Go ahead and check that out. I'll be having fitness videos as well as gaming videos, and the podcast will be going up on there as well. And this will be up on Anchor FM and Spotify. Take care of yourself. Y'all have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.